Dhimahi Tanno Hamsa Prachodayat. Om Hrim Shantananda Hamsaya Vidmahe Paramahamsaya Dhimahi Tanno Hamsa Prachodayat. Hari Om everybody, and welcome to the fourth day of Navaratri. This is also the fifth, though it's the fourth day, it is the fifth Tithi, that is the fifth day of Navaratri. And this is called the Panchami Tithi, and it is also associated with the Lalita Mahatripura Sundari, the Rajarajeshwari who we spoke about. Today is dedicated to the worship of Lalita, the Mahatripura Sundari, the goddess who I told you, who is the queen of queens, the monarch of the universe, who holds the sugarcane bow and the flower arrows and the pasham, the rope, and the gourd, elephant gourd, four instruments in her hand. And today is the middle of the 9 days. So it sits right in the middle. And the Divine Mother is worshipped in all her splendor and glory as the Queen of Queens, Lalita. Lalita means that which is fine, that which is beautiful, that which is playful, that which is young and exuberant. So here, Lalita, even fine arts, the art of the fine arts is called Lalita Kala. Lalita means that which is finely interlacing the whole universe. The beauty that hides behind the flower, the tree, the sun, the ocean waves, and so on and so forth. The entire universe is laced with this beauty. And that beauty is called Lalita. Lalita Maha Tripura Sundari. Lalita, that which is finely, delicately sitting, that beauty par excellence of the three worlds, Tripura Sundari. So today I thought of sharing with you a very beautiful 5 verses. I don't know how much I could finish the verses in the 1 hour. I've extended the time to 1 hour, but I hope I am able to share with you. If it spills over to tomorrow also, that's fine, because it's beautiful verses on the Divine Mother by the great sage and saint Adi Shankaracharya, without whom we wouldn't have what is known as Hinduism today. Because Adi Shankaracharya is the father of our religion in a way. Because at his time, there were about 99 different religions in India. They were all fighting with each other. And he came and he re-established the Vedic religion and established what was known as the Advaita Vedanta, and bound the entire country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Dwaraka to Manipur, like this. Himself, he walked the entire land, and he re-established the Dharma by having debates with all religious leaders and then proving that the Vedic tradition is the original philosophy of the land, and he re-established that. And he organized not only the philosophy, the ritualistic worship, and the entire gamut of the whole religious practice that we call Hinduism today owes its origin, or owes its credit to Adi Shankaracharya. So Adi Shankaracharya, while he was a Vedantin on the one side, a terse philosopher, he was a great bhakta, and he had composed great works on all the deities of the Hindu pantheon. Every deity he had composed great works, and he had also written commentaries not only on the Bhagavad Gita, but on the Vishnu Sahasranamam, the Lalita Trishadi, the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras, and so on and so forth. He had given such lucid commentaries to make the common man understand in simple terms what these otherwise terse subjects would be, and making it very easily assimilable. So that is Adi Shankaracharya, and he had composed this beautiful work called Devi Pancharatnam, which I'm going to share with you, also known as Lalita Pancharatnam. It's a text, so we are going to share screen a little bit with the text that we have, but before which I will talk to you about the nature of this work. In the form of meditation that we have in the Indian way of meditation, there are two kinds of meditation. One is called the Saguna meditation, that is the personification of a deity and meditation on a personalized form of the divine. The other meditation is Nirguna, or the abstract meditation on abstract qualities: love, compassion, omnipresence, omniscience, consciousness. Like this, there are abstraction. You can't say one form of meditation is superior to the other form. The both forms, they bring the mind to a single point, and through that fine point, that aperture, the consciousness is supposed to expand into the universal consciousness. But in the deity meditation, there is a kind of a order that we do in meditating on a deity. Like say you meditate on Lord Krishna, or you meditate on Lord Subramanya, or you meditate on Devi. So what usually the process of meditation that the great ones had given would be that you would meditate from the Keshadi Padam, that is either Kesha, from the hair, from the crown to the toe of the deity, Padam, the foot of the deity, or the reverse way, Padadi Kesham, from the foot to the crest. Why is such a meditation made this way? The rishis were very great psychologists. They knew that we would, our minds would roam. Our minds would go hither and thither and everywhere, and they cannot focus on something. So because of the nature of the mind as a wanderer or a distracted thing that cannot focus, so the rishi said, okay, you cannot focus, it's okay, I will take you on a tour. You follow me. I will take you on a tour, and as you go on this tour, like this, slowly, slowly, your mind will be. And when we tour something very beautiful, then the mind is a little bit more focused. When you have to concentrate on something that is boring, then your mind will wander very fast. But when you concentrate on something that is beautiful, on a deity, and there is a kind of a psychological process. When you bathe the deity with Abhishekam, then you decorate the deity, the mind will become slowly, slowly focused. When you decorate something, when you ice a cake, or you draw a kolam, for instance, your mind will be drawn to the creativity that has come out of you. When you dress the deity with every morning I dress my Devi with the different saris and jewelry. And when you dress her, your mind will look at that and it will be drawn to that, Then you will focus on each limb. So the meditation will start like you meditate on her eyes, on her face, on her nose. Then you visualize her lips, then her lips connected to her ears, then her neck, like this. Each mantra, as we meditate, we visualize the form like this, and right down to her toe. And then again, we take it back. The mind is taken back to the face like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. So this is the kind of Saguna meditation, which even the great Sadashiva Brahmendra, you all might know the song, that famous song, some of you may know who are familiar. Manasa Sancharare Brahmani. It is, oh mind, you wonder. You wonder on the plurality of Brahman. Brahman is singular, but when he says Brahmani, that becomes a plural. And what is this? How do you meditate on Lord Krishna? He says, Madashiki Pinchalankrita Chikure, from his hand. Mahaniya Kapola Jita Mukure. And his cheeks that are like, which put mirrors to shame. So shining that Mukure Jita Kapola Jita Mukure. So like this, it says, oh mind, you want to wander. Okay, you wander, but you wander like this. You go from the peacock feather, then you go to his beautiful tilak, then you go to his eyes, then you go to his nose, you go to nose ring, like this. You go down like that, and your mind will enjoy the beauty like this. And then slowly the mind, you look at his blue color, and then you visualize he is all Vivam iti Vishnuhu. Oh, he is all pervasive like this. The whole universe is Krishna. Everything that I see, then you think, oh, love, the love in all beings, that is Lord Krishna. Then the mind from the concrete image of Lord Krishna's form fractures into his qualities, his gunas, compassion, omnipresence like this, and slowly, slowly the mind would expand. But it needs to go onto a concrete object first, and then abstract, nirguna, from the saguna to the nirguna. So this Lalita Pancharatnam is structured in the similar way. In a nutshell, so beautifully, Adi Shankaracharya has taken us through this meditation. And when do you meditate is the best time to meditate? The best time to meditate is Pratah. Pratah means Pratah Kala. That is the early morning before the sun rises, when between 4 and 6. Swami Shivananda's instruction, the first instruction I always tell Gurudev, very difficult. The very first instruction of put us off. Wake up at 4 a.m. Brahma Muhurt. How do you wake up at 4 a.m.? 4 a.m. It's so difficult. That's why you want to sleep. But that is the time, if you sleep early and you're able to get up at 4 o'clock, the mind that was turbulent during the daytime, it slowly winds down towards the night. How does it wind down? How does the mind wind down? Like you listen, it's like the street outside what happens. On the road at 8 o'clock in the evening, you hear a lot of cars going. Then 9 o'clock, it will slowly reduce. 10 o'clock, a fewer cars. 11 o'clock, 2 cars will go. 12 o'clock, maybe 1 car will go. Like that, your thoughts also, through the day, it was very busy. Towards the night, it will slowly wind down. And then when you go into deep sleep, in ideal situation, when you get up, the mind will be very still, very placid, very like a still lake. It usually in the Brahma Muhurta hour, in that Pratah Kalam, the mind will be more still, provided you didn't load your stomach with a huge meal at dinner time and you didn't sleep very late. You slept early with a very light meal before you sleep, then by right, this would be the state of your mind. And the great ones said in the Pratah Kala, the Brahma Muhurta, it is called, the great sages of the Himalayas, and wherever they are, they're omnipresent like the Lord himself. All the great Mahans, Sri Ramakrishna, Shivananda, Yogananda, Shirdi Baba, Anandamayi, who have you, and also the ancient rishis, Agastya, Parashurama, you name them, they all permeate the atmosphere. They avail themselves. It's their office hours, as they go to say. They make them avail themselves. So when they catch or they chance upon an Atma who is who's struggling to focus upon the divine and to struggle to find the purpose of existence, they quickly come into that space and they start to assist you in whatever you are struggling with. That Brahma Muhurta is a golden period where the mind is led into a focus, and there is supportive beings unseen from the astral plane who are present in this plane and who avail themselves to those who struggle at that time. So this Devi Pancharatnam is an early morning meditation called Pratha Smaranam. Pratha is early and Smaranam is to remember. An early morning remembrance of God. As soon as you wake up, you remember her. You remember the Divine Mother. There are Pratha Smaranams for all deities and even for the Guru, there is Pratha Smaranam. This Pratha Smaranam is on Devi. Devi Pancharatnam, 5 verses. And it's so beautifully, the first verse talks about her beautiful face. And then the second verse talks about her beautiful arms. And then the third verse talks about her beautiful feet. And then it fractures into the third and fourth, the fourth and fifth verse will go into abstract ideas of the Divine Mother in her omnipresence and omniscience and how she runs the world show. And then the mind expands from the concrete, it slowly expands into the abstraction of the Divine Mother as Sarvabhuteshu. And then you hold that thought through the day. And also that's the other thing about the Brahma Muhurta. They say that when we impression that we create in the mind in that Brahma Muhurta time, it forms an indelible impression that molds your grooves in your brain, the way you think. It helps you to readjust the grooves of wrong thinking patterns. The early morning time will change the course of the brain to think in divine ways, to leave the material existence and to focus on a spiritual purpose. That is what the Brahma Muhurta's time has, because these saints and sages, they avail themselves and they also have the power to influence the way you think after a period of time. So they would lead you onto the right path of, I mean, it's not just Hindu sages. Sages go beyond religion. It could be Jesus, it could be Buddha, it could be any great self-realized, God-realized being of any religion would be present at that point. And in the way that we are familiar with our divine attraction to God as Mother, as Jesus, as Buddha, whoever we are attracted to, those sages will come and guide us in the path that we are familiar and we are. Am I muted? Did the host mute me? Can you hear me? Can you just put up a thumb?
Yes.
You're okay now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So this Parata Smaranam has such a deep significance because it is, though it's Navaratri, we still wake up very early. It's still the night because we still wake up very early in order to hold that thought through the day. Because Navaratri, though it's Navaratri, the 9 days and nights should be saturated with the Divine Mother. As many times we can repeat her name, the many times we can bring her image back to our mind. It's an intense period of sadhana. So this period doesn't matter whether morning, night or day. I mean, night for the want of a term, it's night, but it's 24/7. So the first verse goes like this. Bhuma, would you like to share the screen so that they can also see what is the words there so that you can follow me? Not that you have to learn the words, it's just that you understand what I'm saying. So it starts off with Pratha Smarami Lalita. In the early morning, we meditate upon Lalita, the Divine Mother. Vadanara Vindam, we meditate on her face, which is like a beautiful lotus. Vadana Aravindam. The meditation of hope, we hold the lotus. Sometimes we can't visualize, so we keep the photograph of a beautiful deity like Krishna or Lalita Tripura Sundari, and as we look at her face, we try to capture that image in our eyes, and when we close our eyes, we hold that image in the Trikuti, the space between our eyebrows. And wow.
The first word of the sentence to be always.
I can hear somebody. Yeah. Can you see me, anyone? Can you see me? No, you can't see me. No? I think, Bhuma, we won't have the slide first. I will talk first, and then at the end, we'll show the slide. Sorry, Bhuma. Yeah, thank you. So the Vadanara Vindam, the beautiful lotus-like face, and if we cannot visualize that, we have a beautiful photograph of the Lalita Tripura Sundari, and we capture that image in our eyes, and we hold that image as long as we can in the Trikuti. We visualize her lotus face. Bimbadaram, her lips like a bimba fruit. Our mind traverses to her lips that look like, in Tamil they say kovvai. Kovvai chavvayil kumil shiripum. Lord Shiva is also supposed to have the kovvai. Kovaka. I mean, in Tamil Nadu they make a kuttu with this particular vegetable. It's really red, like a pinkish red. And the beautiful bimba fruit, like cherry lips, they say in English, but here it's the kobai. That her lips so beautifully reddened like this, bimbadaram. And the meditation is associated. So when you visualize the lips, the next thing it takes you is to the tip of her nose, where a beautiful pearl, Prutula Mautika Shobhi, a soft pearl, like a drop. There are pearls which are round, then there are pearls which are like a drop. This is a Prutula is like a drop pearl hanging from the tip of a nose. Those of you who are familiar with South Indian jewelry will know, especially Bharatanatyam dances, will know the bulak. She's wearing a beautiful nose drop that is hanging here like a pearl. Bimbadaram Prutula Mautika Shobhinasam. And that pearl is shining not because of its own radiance, because her nose is shining so beautifully. So the pearl is shining. Pratasmarami Lalita Badanara Vindam, her lotus face, Bimbadaram Prutula Mautika Shobhinas. Then it goes from the nose, Karna Dirghanayanam. Karna is ears. Her eyes are until the ear. You know, the Kangra paintings, Rajasthani paintings, they love to always show the long, and Indian girls will paint the eyes long like this until the eyes like this. Akarna Dirghanayanam. Why is the eye so long until the ears? So Vishala Netram. It tells us that her eyes are broad, all-seeing. The all-seeing large eyes that until the ear. But it's also significant that they are telling the ear, Adi Shankara is telling the ear, because she's the divine mother. So if you are a mother, or if you know of mothers, or you have lived with your wife who has been a mother, you will know that when the newly born baby is in the room, nobody can hear, but the mother, when the slightest sound in the room, she would quickly turn. Baby cried, she'll say. She can hear. Others cannot hear. Because her mind, one part of her mind is always on the child. Her karna, her eyes will follow the ears. The ear will catch the sound of the baby, and she'll. So this beautiful poetical metaphor of showing her long eyes is also connected with the maternal nature of the Divine Mother. She has such beautiful eyes, wide eyes like this. And at the corner of her eye, she spots the grace. So that Karna Dirghanayanam. And then because you talked about Karna, so the meditation goes to the Manikundaladhyam. You meditate on, see how beautifully the lotus face, and from the lotus face, we went to the lips, from the lips to the tip of the nose, a beautiful pearl, then her nose, and then her eyes, beautiful eyes that reached her ear. And then on her ear, she has a beautiful kundala, Mani Kundaladhyam. Beautiful earring. And then that connects again with the lips, Mandasmitam. She is spotting a very gentle, Manda means soft, gentle smile. Why is the Divine Mother spotting a gentle smile? In common life, in our normal day-to-day life, if a lady or somebody is always smiling, you look at them and this person is very approachable, you know. I smile. If some people are like this, you know. Hello, how are you? I'm fine. Where are you going? Home. But when you see some certain people, they are very cheerful, smiling, so approachable. A simple smile like that makes them very approachable and very easygoing. So that simple smile is a simple thing. It's this, but it carries a deep Atmic quality. The Atma quality of being one with everybody, you would smile and avail yourself because you feel that you are one with everyone. So the Divine Mother spots the gentle smile, Mandasmitam, and from there they take you to her trikuti, her spot between her eyebrows in the region of the forehead. She has the musk of a deer. as a tilak, as a Mriga Madojwala Bhala Desham. Mriga is the deer. The deer on heat produces a kind of a semen which causes what is known as a perfume called musk. This musk is applied on the Trikuti. What is the metaphor of the musk? Why that? Why the musk as a Kasturi Tilakam? Why does she wear that? For those who buy perfume, they will know you got pulsating points. You know, when you buy perfume, they'll put it on your wrist or they put it behind your ear. This is a point, a pulse point. So it will emit the perfume from time as the pulse goes through your body. That's one thing. The other thing is this deer, it has musk and it doesn't realize that the fragrance comes from its own self. The deer would will imagine that the smell is coming from this beautiful smell is coming from somewhere else, and it runs chasing the smell, not realizing that the smell is within it. And then it goes and goes and goes and goes, running, and chasing its own smell. It doesn't realize it's from itself. It thinks it's from someone else. And finally goes and jumps off a cliff, thinking the smell is there, and it dies. So the musk actually tells us of Atmic bliss. We think happiness lies in objects, in relationships outside us, and we chase them like the deer. But happiness actually lies inside us. And that is what the musk is. The musk is the happiness that the bliss is actually already within you. When you see, as I was telling you yesterday about the Kanjipuram sari as an example, when the beauty of that sari is the Divine Mother. The sari is incidental. The beauty that we think is in the sari is actually the Divine Mother. So we affirm the beauty that is outside is actually already inside us. And unlike the deer, she's wearing that to say that, hey, listen, the bliss is already in you. If you were to focus in the region of the eyebrows and keep your concentration there, you would realize that bliss is not outside you, but is inside you. And so that is why she's wearing that beautiful Kasturi Tilakam between her eyebrows. To tell humanity, listen, the fragrance that you seek outside is actually inside. So that is a beautiful first verse that talks about Lalita Parmeshwari's beautiful face, which is like a lotus. Pratasmarami Lalita Vadanarabindham Bimbhadharam Prutulamotika Shobhinasam Akarnadhirganayanam Manikundalatyam Mandasmitam Mrugamatujvala Paladesham. You meditate beautifully, and usually they use an early morning raga for the vrittam that we sing it in. So the mind becomes very still. Imagine that early morning time that you visualize this in a dark room with just a lamp burning there in front of the Divine Mother, and the mind is naturally still. So the meditation is like fish to water. You would naturally meditate without too much of struggle with the fighting with the mind. Next we have Pratar Bhajami Lalita. First we say Smarami. Early morning we remember. Smaranam is to remember. The next is Bhajami, is to sing or to praise or to say. Early morning we say, we sing Lalita. Bhuja Kalpavalli. Her arms, her two arms, her bhujam, they are like the Kalpavalli. In the Lalita Trishati, for those of you who are familiar here, we have the name Kalpavalli Samabhujaye Namaha. Kalpavalli Samabhuja. In the heavenly kingdom, in the Devaloka, in the plains of the gods, there is the wish fulfilling tree called the Kalpaka Vriksha. It is a tree called the Kalpa Vriksha or the Kalpaka Vriksha. That tree is adorned by beautiful creepers. Kalpavalli. It is called Kalpavalli. And creepers are languid and so delicate. And the Divine Mother's hands are like these wish-fulfilling creepers. Lata Hastaye Namaha. Lata Tanave Namaha. The Divine Mother herself, her Tanu, her body is like so slender, like a creeper. She is so gentle. Kodi Idayal, we say in Tamil, like that. Her arms are now Kalpavalli. The Valli means creeper. Her arms are, when you know dance, you have Lata Hasta, the hands that are soft in the elbows, limp in the wrists. So they are the feminine form of the arms. And that beautiful arms are all wish fulfilling. The epithet tells you of the quality of the beauty, because the mind meditates on the beauty, and that it gives everything that you pray for. Whatever you pray, she gives you. Like the wish fulfilling tree. Pratar bhajami lalita bhujakalpavalli ratranguli yalasadanguli pallavadhyam. Ratnanguli, her 10 fingers. When you meditate on the arms, then your mind will go to her hands. And then on her hands, her fingers, all 10 fingers will be sporting beautiful rings. Rings that are studded with rubies. Ratnanguli. Navaratri maybe. The 9 different planets, as I told. Whenever we have the symbolism of gems, they denote the planets. That means the cosmic being that she is, all the planets are mere ornaments for her body, a person. So these beautiful palms are adorned by rings that are radiant. Lasad means to shine. Lasadanguli. And her palms are like tender shoots of leaves. Pallavadya. Soft and tender like the shoots. So the imagery of a creeper, and then very soft shoots, the leaves that are just, and her fingers are all radiant with rings. So that visualization of the Pratar bhajami lalita bhujakalpavalli Ratanguli yalasadanguli pallavadhyam. Her palms are like pallava. Manikya hema valayangada shobhamanam. Valayangada in Tamil, valayal means bangle. In Sanskrit also valaya, it's the same thing only. Her wrists are adorned by bangles that are golden and studded with manikyam, diamonds. So many precious stones. So you visualize the arms, beautiful arms, and then her palms, her fingers with rings, and her wrists with beautiful bangles. The mind takes you like this. Pallavadhyam manikya hema valayangada shobhamanam. And it's radiating. It's shining. Shobhamanam. Padma Pundrekshu chapa kusumeshu shrinindadhanam. Pundrekshu. Ikshukodandam. She has, as I told you yesterday, beautiful sugar cane. Pundrekshu chapa. She has the bow. Chapam is bow, the bow of the sugarcane bow, as a bow, and kusumeshu, lotus flowers, shrinindadhanam, gently she's holding in her hand. She's holding the beautiful sugarcane bow, and she's holding the flowery arrows, the 5 senses, as I told you, and the beautiful spinal column, which represents the sugarcane, and the 5 senses. She is ready to give the consciousness to all beings. She's seated like this. Beautiful face, lips, nose, eyes. You take your mind to her ears, hearing, and then you go to her beautiful arms, which are like the creepers of the heavens. The palms, like soft shoots, and her fingers adorned with rings of ratna or rubies, the different gems, her wrists with golden bangles radiating diamonds and stones, and in those beautiful hands she holds the beautiful Drekshu Chapa, Kusumeshu Srinindadhanam. So beautiful is the description. We have a beautiful photograph of Lalita Parameshwari before you. That that image is easier to visualize. Sometimes it's hard to abstractly visualize it. Then the meditation also commands you to look at the photograph and then internalize that image, because the image will stay when you capture it with your eyes like a camera. Your eye is like a camera because it has an aperture, then it has a lens, it has a screen to the retina that will invert the image and so on like this. So like a camera, you capture it and then you hold that image in the Trikuti and then you visualize that after that. Then we come now to the third verse. Pratarnamami, because it's going to the feet. So we have in the early morning, we bow. First we pratasmarami. The first verse was to remember. The second verse was to praise. The third verse is to bow, to surrender. Pratarnamami lalita charanaravindam. Charana aravindam. Feet are also like lotus. Remember the first verse we had Pratasmarami lalita vadanaravindam. There's always a profusion of the lotus imagery in all the deities. Even though Sri Rama and Sri Ramachandra Kripalu, Navakanja Lochana. Kanja is lotus, like we said yesterday, Kanja the Layadakshi. Navakanja Lochana Kanja Mukha Kara Kanja Pada Kanjaru. Now, Lord Rama also has a face of a lotus, hands, feet, everything. And here the Divine Mother is also seen with that, which means, as I told you earlier, the symbolism of the lotus tells us that of realization, how the lotus struggles to come out of the muddy waters, and at the touch of the sun's rays, like the yogi that struggles through the earth and mundane existence, struggles to come and rise above, and then at the touch of the Guru's grace, he blossoms into the full realization. So the Divine Mother's eyes are eyes of realization and enlightenment, face of enlightenment, hands, every action is acting through enlightenment, and feet like a lotus, charanaravindam. Every movement of the Divine Mother is through wisdom and through that enlightened movement. So her lotus feet, we now bow, Pratarnamami lalite charanaravindam bhaktyeshtadhana niratam bhavasindhuhotam. What do these feet do? Bhaktyeshtadhana niratam. To all those bhaktas, bhaktas are not people who ask anything to the Divine Mother. We are not. I always think, we use the words wrongly. Just because we pray to God, we don't become a bhakta. A bhakta is a person who loves God not for any gain. It's very hard to be a bhakta. Meera is a bhakta. Kabir is a bhakta. Tulsidas is a bhakta. Saint Francis is a bhakta. They just love God purely for God's sake. They're not asking him anything. That is a bhakta. And then just because you practice yoga, you don't become a yogi. I'm a yogi. How are you a yogi? I do yoga asanas every day. Just because you do yoga doesn't mean you're a yogi. Because you practice yoga, you have to become a yogi as a result of that. By practicing bhakti yoga, you become a bhakta at the end of the line when you merge in and the consciousness is saturated with God. So, Bhaktyeshta Dana Niratam. Bhaktas are like Meera, like Gurudev Swami Shivananda, Mahanandamai, all the saints, they are bhaktas. Ishtadana Niratam. Ishta means whatever they wish, she grants them because they love God for all that He is, not for anything. Suddenly, if they have a like this, they cough. Immediately, somebody will give them something to drink. They don't have to even think. Every need of theirs is taken care of, and that is the bhakta. So the bhakteshta, when the bhaktas fall at her feet, whatever that is needed for them, she immediately grants them. Bhakteshta dana niratam. She grants the material needs, and then those feet act like a boat. The word boat comes also from Sanskrit. Potam. Bhava Sindhu Potam, the ocean of birth and death. We are born. You see, why do we call it the ocean of birth and death? There's a beautiful Hare Krishna painting you will see of the transmigratory cycle, the infant, and then he starts to crawl, then he becomes an adult, and he grows up, adolescence into adult, then he marries, then he has children, and then his body slowly starts to hunch and go old, and then he holds a stick, and then he goes down, and then he's flat on the bed, and then he is immobile, he's bedridden, and then he dies. So the infant to adulthood, like this, the shape is like a wave, a sinusoidal. So the whole earth is like a wave, waves like that. Each one of us are at a different point in the life cycle. So just imagine the entire humanity, plants, trees, everything are going in this wave-like motion in the time cycle. We are all moving like this. So the whole of birth, life, death, everything like this, aging, growing old, getting married, having children. So the whole earth and the life cycles of humanity look like an ocean. And we get stuck in this ocean. Just go on and on cyclically, and we never learn how to be balanced in between all the chaos of opposites that attract us and distract us, the heat and cold and sadnesses and happinesses and successes and failures, and all the opposites drag us in different directions, and we try to find band-aid solutions to a lot of things. But the equanimity, the deep ocean that she is within, which is unperturbed in the bliss of itself, she is the boat that comes out and takes the soul across this ocean. Bhava Sindhu. Sindhu is ocean. Bhava is birth and death and the cycles of this whole turbulent ocean. She comes like a beautiful boat and she lifts the devotee and she takes, come on, child, it's beyond this. Life is so beautiful beyond. I always say that song, the silly nursery rhyme has so much of meaning. Row, row, row your boat. Life gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily is a very key word. To be always cheerful despite odds, to be equal and to be balanced despite all sorts of things that come and go, because happiness, sadness, health, disease, health and disease, heat and cold, all the opposites will come like this. But you just go merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. And that dream quality she talks about in the next verse. The dream quality of life. What happened yesterday, if we try to recollect, is like a dream. It's gone into the dream matter. What is going to happen tomorrow is also in the dream matter. We can't even say the word now, because when we say the word now, that whole thing has gone into dream matter. So how sure are you that you're not in a long dream? Because when we go into deep sleep at night, the entire world ceases to exist. And then when we have a dream at night, the dream is so real. Can you imagine every night you will have a dream? It's the same dream, like a serial. That means you are a princess or you're a prince, and then you are married, you have children, you have a family, and then it's sequential. So you'll be leading two lives. You'll be leading one life here in this waking state, and then when you dream, you'll be leading another life there. So they say, the great sages say, this earth that we are in, that we think is real, is actually one long dream, Dirgha Swapna. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. The Swapna Avastha is the Jagrat, this awaking state, is actually a long dream. So when we die, we come out of the dream and say, oh, it was a dream all this while. We come into another realization. But so long as you're in the dream is very real. I cannot tell you that, this is a dream and one tiger bites you, you suffer cancer and it's killing you. But the consciousness, if it is trained through the meditation to rise above, that's the whole sadhana. That's the whole practice. Then we push ourselves into that plane of consciousness. Pratarnamami lalita charanarabindam. We bow to those lotus feet. Bhaktyeshtadana niratam. Fulfilling, wish fulfilling to the devotees. Bhavasindhu potam, the boat, the potam that takes us across. Then Padmasanadi Suranayaka Pujaniyam. Padmasana, Lord Brahma who sits on the lotus. Padmasanadi, from Brahma to all the gods. Padmasanadi, Adi means like in Tamil we say Mudaliya, Brahman Mudaliya, from the Brahma to all the gods. Padmasanadi Suranayaka, the Nayaka of the Sura, the leader of the gods is Devendra. All these gods, Suranayaka Pujaniyam, they are bowing at these feet of the Divine Mother. Their crowns, it seems, in Adi Shankaracharya and the Saundarya Lahiri, it says, all the gods, they are vying, they're competing to put their heads upon her feet, and all their crowns are very sharp, like, in the top part is very sharp, like a helmet they are wearing. So Adi Shankara says, oh, Divine Mother, when you hear your devotee cry, like what I told you, the mother hears, she just gets up like this to run down to save them. Be careful, because these guys are all lying prostrate in front of you. All their crowns are very sharp. You may poke your feet, Divine Mother. Be careful. He tells the Divine Mother to be careful in her hurry to come to save the devotee. She doesn't see these crowns that are all lying prostrate at her feet. So Padmasanadi Suranayaka Pujaniyam. So we meditated now on her feet, and then slowly it's expanding to the people around her, that is the Devas. And then slowly now it goes to her many hands. Padmankusha Dvaja Sudarshana Lanjanadyam. In her hands, she got many different instruments. Padma, she holds a lotus to show the quality of life, as I told you. Padma. Ankusha, like what I said yesterday, the goad. The goad, the elephant goad that the mahout who sits on the elephant, he knocks the elephant and he steers the elephant, right? So when he steers the elephant like this, that Ankusham. Padmankusha Dvaja, a flag to show the prana shakti in all beings. She is the flag is a symbol of the wind, because we can see wind only when the flag flutters. Otherwise, we can feel wind, but we can see it when the flag is fluttering. So she shows her sovereignty by the flag that she has in her hand, and also that she is the prana shakti, or the life breath, the life force, the wind, the life wind in all beings. Padmankusha Dvaja Sudarshana. She has the Sudarshana chakra in her hand, which shows the cyclical nature of life and the rotation of the planets in the many orbits that are circumambulating the universe. Padmankusha Dvaja Sudarshana Lanjanadyam. Lanja is also the English word lance, like a spear. She has a spear in her hand. Many English words find their root in Sanskrit. In fact, somebody was saying in Oxford, the university, I had seen a small YouTube or some WhatsApp thing, that English is more an Indic language than a Western language. It's more an Eastern language than a Western language, funnily, isn't it? Because a lot of the roots are from Sanskrit, a lot of the words. So that is a beautiful third verse, which talks about her feet, and from her feet, the lotus quality of her feet. Pratarnamami lalita charanarvindam bhaktyeshtadana niratam bhavasindhupotam padmasanadi suranayaka pujaniyam. Padmasana is Brahma. Padmankushadhvaja sudarshana lanjanadyam. Padma Ankusha Dvaja Sudarshana Lanjanadyam. The time is 8:52 right now. So I don't know whether I will want to rush through the next two verses. These three verses talk about her concrete aspect. The next two verses, Pratastuve Parashivam, talks about her abstract qualities, Parashivam. She doesn't talk about Lalita anymore. Lalita was a personified aspect of the divine. In the next verse, the word Lalita disappears into the abstraction of the universe. Parashivam. She is the abstract Parabrahman. Parashiva means a Parabrahman, the formless, nameless being. Pratastuve. Pratastuve. Stuve is to stuti, to praise. In the early morning, we praise her. She who is formless, Parashivam. Lalitam Bhavani. When you say Lalitam, it becomes the abstraction. You see, we have Shiva and then we have Shivam. When we say Shivam, then Shiva is the personified god with the crescent moon, the Ganga, the ashes and all that, three eyes, white in complexion, wearing tiger skin and so on. But when we say Tamnuma Satvikam Shivam, then that Shivam is Allah, the God of the Abrahamic religions, God of gods, God of all, across religions, barriers, across form, across name, beyond words. So similarly, the Divine Mother, when it's Lalitam, when we say like that, Lalitam, then it becomes, she's abstract. Lalita means she's physical. Lalitam Bhavani, Bhavani, the one who gave Bhava, who gave birth to the universe. Bhavani means the one who brought forth. Trayanta Vedhya Vibhavam Karunanavadyam. Just now I told you, no, the three states of waking, Jagrat, which is like a long dream, and then Swapna, which is dream, and then Sushupti, which is like you knock out, deep sleep. But even in deep sleep, we are conscious. Because when we wake up, oh, what a good sleep I had. What a good sleep you had. But where were you? How did you enjoy that deep sleep? You know, sometimes we have a deep sleep and then we set the alarm in the morning for 4 a.m., let's say. Since we're talking about Brahma Muhurta, we might as well talk about 4 a.m. And we go into deep sleep, but just before 4 a.m. at 3:55, suddenly you will wake up. Something wakes you up. You know the alarm is going to ring. How do you know that? After all, you were deep in sleep. How did that happen? So Swami Shivananda gives a very nice analogy of our consciousness. In a big building, at night, there is a security guard in front. The whole building is blacked out. Everybody has gone home. There's nobody there. But there the security guard, one guy alone will be awake. He is conscious of what is happening in each floor because through his rounding, he will go up and down. He will be doing his rounds. He will know in every floor what is happening. Similarly, our consciousness, which we talk about so much in these sessions about consciousness, there is that consciousness that is able to tell us that 5 minutes to 4, wake up, come out of that slumber. So that same consciousness is the one that is able to tell us that We had a very deep, beautiful sleep. Wow, so nice. I really feel so refreshed and wonderful after waking up. Adichapota Mary, like somebody whacked me up. I just slapped like that. I didn't know if a bomb fell or so I wouldn't have known. But I had such a good sleep. And then there's a fourth stage, which is Trayanta Vedya Vibhavam. Trayanta Vedya. The three levels of consciousness, that is a waking state, dream state, and the deep sleep state. She has permeated this world with such consciousness. And then she stands in the fourth state, which is the Turiya Avastha, or the consciousness where you are super conscious of the entire universe. That consciousness, when you read the autobiography of Yogi, Swami Yogananda says how when she was in Dakshineshwar, he had this samadhi experience. He describes he could see at the back the cow, he could feel the people walking on the road, the entire universe he could feel. He could feel when Swami Sri Lahirimashaya was deep in meditation, he could feel a boat was capsizing off the shores of Japan, because the consciousness is not limited to the body, it is spread now into the cosmic consciousness, one with the Divine Mother. So Trayanta Vedya Vibhavam, and because she knows that we are all trapped in these sort of different levels of relative consciousness, Karunana Vadyam, she oozes with compassion for us. She goes, I've cast them all into Maya and look how they are. So with so much of compassion, she oozes compassion. The beautiful thing is, though she is distant, so far away, she is so immediate at the same time, and so relevant and so current and so colloquial and so local and so human, because she has become everything. So she identifies, as I told you, I identified her with a housewife yesterday, for instance. The simplicity of being so abstract and so distant. Trayanta Vedya Vibhavam. She's beyond the three states. How vast this Divine Mother is, so far away she is. And yet, Karunana Vadya, oozing with compassion. See how the first three verses were talking about her concrete aspects, and suddenly now it has gone into the abstraction of the Divine Mother. And yet, that human quintessential divine quality of compassion is oozing through. We are contemplating on that compassion. That is the abstract meditation. Pratastu ve parashivam lalitam bhavanim trayanta vedya vibhavam karunanavadyam vishvasya shrishti vilayastiti hetu bhutam. Vishvasya, this whole universe, shrishti, she created, vilaya, she destroyed, sthiti, she sustained, laya, sthiti. Vishvasya shrishti vilaya sthiti hetu bhutam. Not only she created, she protected, and then she dissolved. She became hetu bhutam. She became the form of this universe, and then she played like a game herself. Vishweshwarim, or Divine Mother of the whole universe. Nigamavang manasati duram. So beautiful. The Vedas, the Nigama, and speech and mind. Oh, Divine Mother, you're just beyond all this. The Vedas also, that means the abstraction that she is. From the earring meditation and the bangle that we talked about at the beginning, suddenly the meditation is opened off to a level of consciousness that is very, very different. Vishvasya Srishti Vilayastiti Hetu Bhutam Vishweshwarim Nigamavang Manasadi Duram. Duram means far away. She's far away. So the Karunana Vadyam on the one side and distant on the one side. So both are like, near and far at the same time. How is that possible? That is the meditation that we started off from the concrete images into the abstraction that the whole thing is. I'll just quickly, I know it's already 9, but I might as well finish the beautiful 5th verse if you don't mind. Just give me a thumbs up or just tell me it's okay. If not, I'll continue tomorrow. Is it too late? Anyone? Just Chinno, anybody? Yeah, that's okay, Alicia. That's good. Thank you. Yeah. 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 Okay, that's fine. Just one more verse, Sunny. This takes us once again to the last verse. Pratarvadami lalite. Now we come back to Lalita to Lalite. Lalite is neither the personal nor the impersonal. She sits between the two. When we say Parashivam just now, we went to the abstraction. Now we find a reconciliation between the abstract and the concrete. Pratas Vadami. Now I say, Vadami, to say. In the early morning, I say the name. Now, the last verse suddenly comes to another kind of meditation, the meditation which is abstract, which revolves around the word, the japa, the recitation. Pratarvadami lalite tava punyanama. I now meditate on the sound. The sound conjures a kind of power. It's called the Shabda Brahman, the power of a word. When you're eating something very delicious like an ice cream, and I come and say a word like fecal matter or vomit, oh, stop it, don't talk about this right now. It's only a word, it's only a sound. Why are you getting so disturbed? He said, no, because the word conjures such a powerful, when somebody is shouting at you and calling you dog or idiot, you cannot dissociate and say, no, those are just sound syllables like the motor car going and the plane flying. You don't treat those words. You take the word as so real. The word becomes the thing that you're talking about. Just as yesterday I was talking about idolatry, you spit on a photograph of your father, even if you are from a religion that does not have idols, you get angry. How dare you? You don't rationalize and say, how dare you spit on paper? You wouldn't say it's paper, you would say it's from your father. So similarly, the word as the form, at the beginning we were meditating on the form, now we meditate on the word. It's abstraction, it's going into the Shabda Brahma. Pratarvadami lalite tava punyanama. Your name causes the divine name of God in all religions. When we recite it, it causes cycles of change in the brain to push ourselves to a higher cause. That is punyana. Punyam is those actions that push you Godwards. Papam are those actions that pull you away from a divine purpose. Kameshwariti, Kamaleti, Maheshwariti. Now all the names of the Divine Mother start coming. Kameshwariti. Like Kameshwara, Kameshwariti. Yesterday we spoke about Kamakshi. She who is the very source or the passion that exists in creation for the creative cycle of life to go on, the power of creation. Kameshwariti, Kamaleti, the one on the lotus. Maheshwariti, supreme. Shri Shambhaviti. Remember we went Amba Shambhavi on the first page? She who brings bliss, Shambhavi. Shri Shambhaviti Jagatam Janari Pareti. Jagatam, O Mother of the Universe, you're the Janani, you're the Mother of the Universe. Pareti and beyond, Para. You're beyond these words and names and forms that we talk about. You're beyond all that. Pareti. Vagdevateti. The very Vadami, the very ability to articulate, you are the power, the Vagdevata. You are the one that even gives me the power to vocalize what I'm thinking. You are the power that makes me think. Now, behind that, you are the power that makes that thought vocal. That is Vagdevata. For a want of a word, we how are we to describe you who are so vast? Vagdevateti vachasa. Oru pechukku. We say vachasa means like in Tamil we say oru pechukku. So just for the sake of saying, we say Tripureshwari Vagdevateti Vachasa Tripureshwari. We call you Tripura, Tripura Sundari. We call you that for want of a word. Divine Mother, you are so vast, you are so beyond everything. So the meditation ends off with the wordless, thoughtless, formless state beyond the three states of waking, dreaming, and sleeping. So in these five verses, how beautifully from the concrete, beautiful image of the Divine Mother, the meditation that took you from the face to her limbs, to her arms, then to her feet, and then into the abstraction that she was Parashiva, to the three states of waking, deep sleep, and beyond. And then creation, sustenance is a game that she became this universe. The whole mind is expanding into the universe. And beyond thought and Vedas, Nigamavang Manasadi Duram. And how we finally try to revel just on the name and to soak the vibration of the name. So this is a very beautiful Lalita Pancharatnam. Actually, sorry, Bhuma, I first thought of sharing screen with everyone so that we could all be on the same page. But then the way I speak, I'm very animated, and half the time I'm doing some abhinaya for all of you and giving you all these visuals with my face and hands and everything, mudras. So I thought it'll be nice if you just listen to me, and maybe we can, yeah, it was like a guided visualization. Actually, the Lalita Pancharatnam is a guided meditation. The five verses act as a guided meditation, on the Divine Mother. And so I wish we were all on a WhatsApp group, all those who have been regular, so that I could post you little, what do you call it, the text, and for you to, but you can always Google it and you can get the Devi Pancharatnam or Lalita Pancharatnam. Many sites are there on, today Google is the new guru, right? Google Brahma, Google Vishnu, Google Devo Maheshwara, Google Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri. Google, you can get everything from Google. So, so you should be able to get the Devi Pancharatnam, and of course you can, that's Bhuma has sent it there. Have a look at the chat, and she's sent a link over there, and you could use that. Of course, the Sanskrit pronunciations may be, the transliterations may not be very accurate, but it doesn't matter. Bhuma, does that have by any chance the meanings? Because some sites have word for word meanings, and it'd be good if you can give them a site or post a site that has the meanings, because because a lot of us don't know Sanskrit, and it'll take us a long time to learn up the original, but at least to have a sense of what it means and what it feels. Larger than the meaning is the feeling. And so if we can get the feeling, yeah, thank you, Lakshmi. And that is a beautiful Pratasmaranam, the early morning meditation. And I hope that we would, that she sent you another one here. There is another one on the chat. If you can just copy that, or how do you copy it? I don't know. I'm not very good at Zoom, so I really don't know how it works. So, yeah. So that's the beautiful meditation on the Divine Mother that we have. And if you do have any questions, I know it's pretty late. My sessions are becoming longer and longer, and I'm trying to confine it. I first thought I will do it in 2 sessions, but sometimes, when you're in the trend of thought and it's going like this, and suddenly you arrest it, then tomorrow I'm to pick it up from where I left off, the flow may not be there. So I thought I might as well just, while I'm in the mood of saying it, it's like the flow is better this way. So that's why, forgive me for taking up your time. And if you do have to leave, you can, because we are recording these sessions and posting them. For those of you on Facebook, I've posted it there. I don't know whether Bindu is able to post that. Bhuma, I'm not sure whether you'll be able to post it as video, YouTube. If you just YouTube the...
It's on YouTube, Shankarane.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. If you just YouTube Navaratri Pravachana, the title of these sessions, you will be able to get the sessions there. So in case you have to leave early, because I have a tendency to waffle on sometimes and ramble on. So if you do have to leave, you can, and then you can always catch up by watching the video, so on and so forth. If you do have any questions, I know it's pretty late, and you can ask me even tomorrow. And yeah, it's beautiful to meditate on these verses, and it's a lovely, lovely, lovely meditation on the Divine Mother. And it teaches you how to meditate. For those who are serious about meditation, it really teaches you how to concentrate on the Padadikesha, or the Keshadipadam of the Divine Mother, and then the abstractions. So with that, I like to end the session. If you have any questions, thank you, Vimala. Yeah, thank you, Vimala. Thank you, everyone. So we end off there with a short Shanti prayer. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mamritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful. I also enjoy talking these things, and I get carried away. So thank you for the opportunity, and I hope that you all are enjoying as well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. My cousin Joe is here as well. Thank you, Tingle. Bye, everybody.